Kinzinger, the congressman from Illinois, is with us right now. Congressman, you've been standing there listening to this conversation. Be curious to hear your take about where we are and how we got here in the Republican Party.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was really fascinating to listen to, because the name American Psychosis, by the way, is perfect for kind of this moment we're in. It's hard for me to look back. You know, as somebody that's been in this job for 12 years, I can look back probably 15 and give insight from there. You know, the stuff prior, I have to lean on historians. What I've seen is just members of Congress, because that's who I'm around, but I'd say more generically Republican leaders, that just for some reason, somewhere, it all became about power. And it all became about fear. And Donald Trump brought heaps of fear into the Republican Party. For like a year or two, people thought maybe we could take down Donald Trump. When he kept surviving, this fear came through of like, we have to do everything he wants because he is invulnerable. And he very well may be invulnerable. But there are a lot of people that with that fear sold out their soul because they didn't want to be kicked out of the tribe. So it's a very intriguing discussion. And I'm just sitting here shaking my head like, yeah, amen, that's true.
You know what's so bizarre for me, Adam, is seeing how what is conservative has been redefined. You know, I always, you know, I just stopped fighting it a long time ago. But, you know, I had a lifetime 95, 96% ACU rating, conservative rating, one of the tops in a very conservative class of 1994. Liz Cheney, I think, has a lifetime 95, 96% conservative rating. You know, people will have start discussions about illegal immigration, and I'll go, well, yeah, I'm against that. If you cross the border and the first thing you do is illegal, you should be arrested and you should send back home. You go, why are you talking that way? I thought you were a lib. You know, or if they talk about defunding the cops. No, I think cops need to be supported a lot more. We need to reform policing. We need to take the bad cops out, but we need more cops. We need more money, and that will help the most disadvantaged Americans that are facing. You just go down the list. I'm a conservative. You're a conservative. Liz Cheney's a conservative on all the issues. But what's shocking to me is, again, the very people who said, I'll vote for you because you're a conservative and you believe in a 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't talk about that anymore. It's, are you for the failed reality TV show host, the guy who lost the White House, the Senate, and the House for Republicans? Or are you for the failed reality TV host? And nothing else matters. It's bizarre.
Oh, you're 100% right. It's interesting. So I get elected in 2010. The number of people that came up to me and they'd put their shoulder around me and go like, you know, Adam, don't go Washington. You be an independent. You do what you think is right. Now are the ones like, Adam, I can't believe you're doing what you think is right and you're all independent of the Republican Party. It's interesting because also in 2010, there were all those people that would say, like, I'm not a Republican, I'm a conservative before I'm a Republican, are now the people that I'm saying, like, to them, I'm actually a conservative before I'm a Republican because our party has gone crazy. It is amazing to watch when you came here, the holier than thou, and you know these people, the holier than thou folks that get elected to Congress, that preach to you constantly about the Constitution, what's in it, what isn't in it, how this little nuance does abide by it or doesn't abide by it. We all believe in the Constitution. They're the same people that have sold out their values because Donald Trump said to do so. They're the same people that now consider conservatism to be that fealty to Donald Trump. And by the way, to my Democratic friends, I get it. You know, sometimes you can sit around, you expect different of us, and then you find out we're conservative or moderate, and you're disappointed. Look, we have all got to come together because if you truly believe democracy is a threat, if you truly believe that, then we need an uncomfortable alliance. If you don't believe it, I got it, but then quit pretending like you do. I'm telling you, democracy is a threat, and we need uncomfortable alliances.
And Congressman,
well, I'm sorry, Will. Yeah, you know, we're past the point, Willie, where we get hung up on ideology. I told you where I stand, Willie. I'm talking to Willie now. Where I stand, Willie, on illegal immigration. I was always more conservative on illegal immigration than the mainstream of the Republican Party, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Wall Street Journal editorial page, right? And some people may be uncomfortable with that. Okay, I get it. That's right. I think there's chaos at the southern border. I think it's out of control. I think we need... All right, so you may disagree with me. We still have something bigger to worry about, and that is Madisonian democracy. We've got to fight for it. We've got to defend it politically with ideas, and we can't back down. I just couldn't agree anymore with what the congressman said. Let's have those uncomfortable alliances and save this republic, and then we can go back to debating about illegal immigration and cops and everything else down the road.
Yeah, and the congressman and this committee, the select committee's work gets at that, of course, at the foundations of our democracy. And Congressman, we've got some NBC News reporting this morning that you all will have your next hearing on September 28th, 2 weeks from tomorrow, if my math is right. Can you confirm that?
Well, I don't know what I can confirm right now. If the committee's announced, whatever they announce, I'll confirm. We have pretty long meetings today as we're kind of setting down our agenda for the rest of September, for the rest of the year. That's why we're in D.C. a little bit early. But we're going to, again, do what I think we did very effectively earlier in the summer, is bring the American people the truth. We have to begin to pivot to writing this report. And really, look, I mean, it's always tough when you're dealing with people that are unwilling to talk to a committee like we've had. DOJ hasn't prosecuted some of these folks. Okay, that's their decision. But there is a point at which, when it comes to the criminality, that's not our role. DOJ has, I think, a pretty fulsome investigation going. 2 months ago, I had no clue what was going on. And that's going to be where this baton, so to speak, is handed to, not by us. We may have a criminal referral. I think that's likely. But with their investigation from here out. And look, we've got to hold people to account. If the rule of law says you can attempt a coup as long as you fail, and you won't be held responsible, that is way more dangerous for this country than some, fear of short-term violence or riots in the street.
On that question of the DOJ and its investigation, NBC News has confirmed about 40 subpoenas were issued over the past week to people associated with former President Trump. According to the New York Times, which first reported that news, former Trump advisor Dan Scavino among those subpoenaed. His attorney did not comment to us. A lawyer to former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik confirmed to NBC that Kerik was among those subpoenaed. Kerik reportedly was hired by Trump's legal team to investigate fraud in the 2020 election. According to his lawyer, Kerik initially had offered to grant an interview voluntarily. A source tells NBC News former Trump advisor Boris Epstein was one of 2 people to have their phones seized. Epstein has been tied to the scheme to replace Biden electors with fake Trump electors. So that's sort of the parallel investigation, Congress, and what DOJ is looking at. What more is ahead of you on that committee? What might you be sharing with the public in that hearing, whenever it is in a couple of weeks? And then as you prepare the report, how much more is left for you?
Well, let me just first off say, when you say names like Boris Epstein and like Dan Scavino, we've been dealing with on the committee a little bit. He refused to come in. I get chills because I think back to that actually used to be in office. That used to be like people running the government, and I still can't believe it sometimes. But look, for the committee, I don't want to, obviously ruin the surprise in a couple of weeks. I think what we're going to talk about a lot more is we may go into some more depth on some stuff, more of an overview, some areas, of course, we haven't talked about. Think about it this way. So when we talk about the report and in the future, in my last hearing we did on Thursday, which was the 187 minutes of Trump in the White House, doing literally nothing, actively for the first time in his adult life, resisting peer pressure to actually do something, by the way, like the only time. Otherwise, he just reacts to whatever people tell him. I could have probably had a hearing for 7 hours with information on that. We had to keep it to an hour and a half. So you'll see a lot more depth, a lot more evidence on these various areas. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be, again, must-watch TV, not from an entertainment perspective, but from if you care about the United States of American government perspective.
Congressman, it's Catty here. When you go back to your district, whether it's on the broader issue of where the Republican Party has got to, or on the specific issue of January the 6th, it seems that there are very few minds that are open to being persuaded one way or another. I spent the summer traveling around the country and trying to talk to people about January the 6th and the 2020 election, and it's almost impossible for somebody who has made up their mind, say on the election being stolen, to find any argument with them that might open a crack to them revisiting that opinion. So when you go back to your district and you speak to your constituents about these issues, do you find there is occasionally something that can work, something that can produce a conversation where somebody is open to listening to facts and having their mind changed, or does it never happen?
It's rare. I mean, look, let's be honest. And, I think our hearings, actually, there are a lot of Republicans I've heard of kind of just anecdotally that, I was a diehard Trumper. Now I've seen what he was doing. I can't stand him. So you have some of those anecdotally, but you can see reflected in the numbers. The party, for instance, still loves Donald Trump. And I think it's two things. I think to admit that Donald Trump is as corrupt as he is means that you have to, as an individual that supported him, admit that you supported somebody who was corrupt. And it is hard for people to get to that point without blaming themselves. And I say to them, it's not your fault. You've been lied to and abused by your leaders that have lied to you repeatedly. It's okay to change your mind. We all change our mind. But the other thing is, I'm more convinced that people fear more than death. They fear being kicked out of a tribe. Because being excluded, being lonely, and now in our life, everything is in a political sphere. Where you go to eat dinner is now a political sphere. What TV show you watch, everything is a political thing now, including sports teams. So if you fear getting kicked out of your tribe, that's worse than being killed. And I can tell you somebody's been kicked out of my tribe. It's not fun, but you just have to be willing to do it. And it actually makes it feel a lot better to look in the mirror if you are.
Congressman Kinzinger, Jonathan Lemire, I actually want to pull together a couple of threads we just talked about, including this idea here of your time in Congress coming to an end. When the hearings do resume in a few weeks, Congressman Liz Cheney also, she now a lame duck, having lost her primary sizably this summer because she, like you, stood up to Donald Trump. There aren't going to be many congressmen or women left in the Republican Party who defied him. Those who voted to impeach him are all but gone. How concerned are you now, though, as the calendar turns to January, whether the Republicans are in the majority or not in the House, about where your colleagues, the Republicans in the House, where that's taking the country?
I think we're in a really bad spot. I mean, look, I'll say about Liz, people always in their life dream about this opportunity to kind of stand up alone in a crowd and do the right thing, and only a few people actually get that chance. And what I've noticed is that even fewer that get that chance have the courage to do it. It's one thing to read something in a history book and be like, yeah, Winston Churchill or whatever. It's another thing to be able to act like that. She has acted like that. My party, nobody in power right now, with maybe some rare exception, actually believes the election was stolen. They don't. They're lying because they can raise money from it, or they fear their constituents otherwise. I think the people coming in January, there's going to be a significant class of people that actually believe the election was stolen. And that's a fearful thing to me. I have no respect for somebody that tells me, hey, I know it's all, BS, but I got to do this to get reelected. What I fear is those that come here and truly believe, Adam Kinzinger is part of the Soros big government, New World Order machine, and I was part of stealing this election. They're going to be in Congress in January. That frightens me.
Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, thanks so much, as always. We appreciate it.